and welcome to Talk 90s to Me, where we know very well that you only get what you give. And so, dear listener, we are asking you to give a little bit in order to get Talk 90s in full glory. Yes, this is a plug for our Patreon, a place where you can donate a small amount of money, say around £4 a month, and in return you not only get the pleasure of knowing that your money is going into the Talk 90s bank of memories, you also get some fab extras. These include extra episodes on things like Massive Attack and Patrick Cox loafers, and the opportunity to buy some excellent merch, e.g. t-shirts, long-sleeved of course, or yes, bucket hats. All the money you donate goes into paying the people who make it. So why not search up Talk 90s to Me Patreon, that's Patreon, or follow the link in the show notes to find out more. Now, on with the show. This is Talk 90s to Me, where we like to drive around LA discussing exotic hamburgers, dance the twist in a diner full of fake old Hollywood stars, pick out a samurai sword to take to a gimp fight, and call each other pumpkin and honey bunny whilst in a gun standoff with a bad motherfucker. I'm Miranda Sawyer, and yes, this week we are talking Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. I feel like I might cheer. Hooray!
Hooray! None of you fucking pigs move!
With me to get medieval on your ass, I'm very happy to welcome Jamie East, man of many podcasts, including his own, a brand new affair called Tales from the Celebrity Trenches, which is out immediately. Right now. Okay, Jamie.
Hi.
Pulp Fiction, we are so excited, aren't
we? Oh, what a joy.
What an absolute joy. So I'm going to ask you first of all, Can you remember where and when you first saw it and what effect it had on you?
It was at the cinema, but I feel as though I think, as with most people from the 90s, feel as though I heard Pulp Fiction before I saw it. Because it was very much, along with Trainspotting, the album was almost bigger than the film. Like the soundtrack was almost bigger than the film. And so I can't remember the exact... In fact, I definitely saw it at the cinema. And all I can remember is that it just blew my tiny little mind.
Yeah.
It was the first film that I'd seen that kind of screwed with linear narratives, which now is like 10 a penny. Everything from Lost to
Memento,
flipping the Mayor of Easttown.
Yeah.
Like you have flash forwards and flashbacks and this, but at the time it was just like I could not get my head, and my God, this is like the most wild thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah. And also it's incredibly exciting. So some films, I think obviously you come out and you feel sad or you feel like moved or whatever. With Pulp Fiction, actually with Trainspotting, you come out and you're full of adrenaline. It's incredibly adrenalizing and really, really exciting because of that. So because it's so funny, it's so twisty-turny. Yeah. I mean, obviously it's violent, but the pace doesn't really let up. It slightly does in the middle, I think, which we can talk about. But the pace keeps going, and it's kept going by humour and amazing visuals and music and, of course, exotic gun use. And those things are incredibly exciting.
Well, it felt exhilarating and really cool.
Yeah,
it's like
you
walked out of the cinema having seen it with a bit of a swagger and wanting to be American. Do you know what I mean? Which I haven't done for a long time.
Yes.
But at the time,
what unfamiliar feelings those are now.
But America still seems so far away then. Nowadays, the world is so much smaller. This was pre-internet, pre-social media, pre-everything, pre-cheap flights.
Yeah.
And so America still felt like this unattainable kind of exotic kind of world, and it looked so good.
It's funny, isn't it? Because actually a lot of the places where they are quite grotty. So if you think about, say, where Butch, the boxer, who is Bruce Willis, and his girlfriend they're in a kind of grotty motel.
Crappy motel, yeah.
And then when you're going around to, when the hitmen are kind of going around to other people's places, nowhere is nice apart from Marcellus's place.
Yeah.
Really?
But when you're a kid, it's like your only reference point is Home Alone at that point from America, which is the complete opposite. Massive mansions, everyone's rich, everyone's lovely, and Pulp Fiction was like, I want to eat in that diner.
Yes.
And whenever I go into a diner when I'm in New York now, it feels like Pulp Fiction because and they're very rare to find now. Yeah. Like the lanolin kind of seats and the horrible burgers, and just having someone come and just give you free coffee all the time, just keep topping it with coffee, always makes me feel like Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, how great. Yeah, fabulous. Okay, so obviously we've both rewatched it, and what I found really interesting about it when I rewatched it was how much I knew. Like I knew it all. I could almost have told you what happened. Not entirely, but what happened.
Yeah.
And that's because it's really a series of amazing scenes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It feels... The one thing I noticed watching it, like I'd not watched it for about 10 years and put it on, and it just felt brilliant. It made me feel young again. I could kind of like, I was back in those days. But knowing a little bit more, I guess, about cinema, because like Tarantino opened a lot of people's eyes to screenwriting as a craft and all of that kind of stuff. And having watched a lot more films now, you go, okay, I can see what he was doing and why he kind of locked himself away in a flat in Amsterdam for 3 months to write it. He seemingly like wrote maybe like 7 or 8 big long monologues and built the film around them. Yeah.
There's a lot of also, because it is a film as well as, I mean, it's a very chatty film, but it is a film. There are kind of scenes that you remember. So you remember, obviously, the heist in the diner and how they're chatting and then they just get on with it. You remember the chatting between Vince Vega, who's played by John Travolta, and Jules, who's played by Samuel L. Jackson. Their chat about kind of, exotic hamburgers.
Royale with cheese.
Yeah, Royale with cheese. But very specifically, I remember the twist with John Travolta dancing with Uma Thurman when she's in her amazing black wig. There's so many scenes. You remember the scene of the kind of terrifying gimp scene with Bruce Willis picking up a samurai sword to go back in. You remember where his character encounters Marcellus in a car crash. There are so many scenes. There are so many scenes that are absolutely standout. They're like little pop videos.
Yeah. Well, I said to you before we came in here, if Pulp Fiction had been released in the advent of social media, I can't imagine what it would have been like. The meme, the memification of Pulp Fiction is already massive now. There's the John Travolta when he's walking around Marcella's house picking up Mia, where he's kind of like looking around, is now
because he's a bit out of it, isn't he?
Is now a classic meme.
Yeah.
My kids went back and watched Pulp Fiction. They're like, oh my God, that's where the meme's from.
Yeah.
What I found interesting was the bits that I hadn't remembered. And I think they were probably the weakest parts of the film, which was like, oh, God, I forgot about this bit.
Yeah.
This wasn't great. And all the problematic bits in it that certainly wouldn't have
would not fly now.
Would certainly not fly now.
No. I mean, the problematic bits are around, I would say, race and women always, which is always like, I mean, I have to say, if Tarantino has a problem, those are the problems, race and women. And, we can unpick that, I think. But one of the things that I found quite interesting about when I was looking at it was because I thought of it as a series of pop videos, which it kind of is. I mean, that's a bit unfair, actually, because it's very talky as well. But it is... Another way of looking at it is it's like a string of kind of jewels on a necklace, and what he does is he just moves the jewels around. He just rejigs them and makes them into something unexpected. So halfway through the film, you lose your favourite character, which is a John Travolta character. He just gets blown away. And you're like, oh my God, he died. Yeah. Like, what's going on? But then because it's not in a linear format, he comes back.
He's in the final scene.
Yeah, which is just completely
it was really clever.
Genius. It's so genius.
And I don't think I'd ever seen anything like that before.
No.
That kind of disjointed narrative. It took a while to get your head around.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll ask you a question. What time frame is Pulp Fiction over? What spread of time?
Well, it's interesting.
I don't know the answer to this, by the way, because I immediately thought it's one day.
Yeah.
But I don't think it is.
It's not, because they go out for an evening, don't they, Mia? Yeah. So, there's also a weird bit, which is obviously the bit with Christopher Walken and the watch.
Amazing.
So that's like, that's like, 20, 30 years before.
Yeah.
So there's that bit. But if we remove it, I would say, so there's a hit that Vince Vega and Jules do.
Yeah.
And then they...
That's in the morning. That's at breakfast. That's at 8 a.m.
That's at 8 a.m. Then it all goes wrong. They have to call in the Wolfman.
Yeah.
So that's like still early.
Yeah,
That's like 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning.
Because they're waiting for the wife. All hell's going to break loose because a wife is going to come home.
That's right, Bonnie. and then they encounter Marcellus, who was with Bruce Willis.
Yeah, because they're wearing the
same clothes.
The same clothes.
And he gives Bruce Willis a lot of money and says, you've got to throw the fight. Okay. Yep. And that evening, I think, is when Vincent Vega goes out with Uma Thurman, and does the twist.
It's a parallel thing. Yeah.
So that's one day over. Mm-hmm. Okay. So then we hop to whenever the fight is.
Yeah.
So that might be the next day or maybe the day after.
I think it's probably the same day.
Let's say it's the same day. Well, it could be because Vince Vega isn't at the fight, is he?
No.
So let's say the fight is in the evening.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
So the fight is in the evening, and the next day, because Bruce Willis definitely sleeps, the next day is when he encounters Marcellus and the Gimp. And then we go back to...
So hang on.
So yeah, because then
because Vincent Vega gets shot at some point.
He's got to get shot. He's got to get shot the next day.
Oh man, you see, I'm already confused.
He's shot the next day. He's shot the next day. Because we go back to the diner, they're still having a nice time, but it's when he encounters Bruce Willis, the boxer, the next day. So it's over 2 days.
There's the heist in the diner, which doesn't make any sense because they're in their suits. So that must be before.
They're not in their suits.
Oh, they're not in their suits.
No, that's just straight after.
Oh my God! Right, so
it's 2 days.
It's 2 days. Yeah, let's just say it's 2 days.
It's definitely 2 days. We've worked it out.
Quentin, if you're watching, stop staring at my feet and answer the question.
Okay, it's 2 days. Right. Okay. What I noticed also when I was watching it is every scene is either incredibly talky and funny or incredibly high stakes. Mm-hmm. And that's like there's probably a gun involved, or even if there isn't a gun involved, there's drugs involved. Mm-hmm. The most relaxed part, I think, weirdly, is Uma Thurman and Vince Vega encounter when they go on this date.
Yeah.
And that's actually my favourite part of the whole film.
It's great. It's very sexy.
Yeah. Because it's like there are high stakes. The high stakes are don't get involved.
Yeah, don't shit where you eat.
Yeah, exactly. Because you will die. But their banter is beautiful.
Yeah.
And they end up dancing.
Yeah.
And that is the most relaxed part of the whole film, other than maybe Bruce Willis and his slightly lame girlfriend chatting. But other than that, that's the most relaxed bit, isn't it?
Yeah. And is that because Vincent's off his tits?
Yes,
is it kind of like, because the mood is very much just like, he's just kind of like, plays a brilliant heroin addict. And yeah, the mood is quite zen because he's just like wading through heroin and also desperately trying not to get the horn for Mia Wallace, which must have been incredibly difficult.
Yes, exactly.
I'd forgotten. I went in watching it thinking that she didn't fancy him. That there was that it was like an imaginary kind of like, will they or wouldn't they? But then when I watched it back, I was like, oh, they were definitely about to have a shag.
Yeah, it was definitely, it was because they come back after they do their brilliant dance into...
It was that they did a bit of a dance and like very close kind of to each other's face.
Into their house. Yeah. Okay, right, we're jumping about all over the place. Sorry. But that's because we're very...
A bit like Pulp Fiction.
Yes, exactly. This is very, very excited because we're very excited about the whole thing. Let's do a little bit of the story of Pulp Fiction, shall we? So you mentioned Quentin Tarantino went to Amsterdam to write this screenplay. And he went there because Reservoir Dogs had been a big success. And that came out in 92. Mm-hmm. And at Cannes, it was like a huge kind of palaver. And they were like, okay, we'll give you a little bit of money, go and write a screenplay. So he goes to Amsterdam and he spends like 3 months in Amsterdam writing it. There's somebody else who writes it as well, and his name is Roger Avary. Yeah. And if you think about the way that the film is structured, which is, I think, a Quentin Tarantino and Roger Avary idea, which is just basically 3 short films.
Which they actually had before Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
He then got into the heist idea and ended up just going, oh, actually, I really like this heist idea. I'm going to go off. And that became Reservoir Dogs. And then they came back to this kind of like this melding of a trilogy.
Yes.
Because
it's a trilogy. So the idea is that it's like the first part is about Vincent Vega. Mm-hmm. The second part is about Butch, the boxer. And the third part is about Jules, the other hitman, and like his kind of revelation and
road to redemption.
His road to redemption, exactly. So those are the 3 stories that are then moved about. The middle story, the one about the boxer, is the one that Roger Avary writes. And
you can kind of tell, can't you?
Yes, I actually think it's the weakest bit, weirdly. I mean, I think the escalation is kind of mad because it starts off with a boxer throwing a fight. It ends up in this ridiculous situation where they're in a shop, him and Marcellus, who is trying to kill him, and they
of all the army surplus stores in the world you could have gone into. Yeah.
They go into one, and basically there's a kind of a rape situation and a gimp, and like it's very dark, and a samurai sword, and the quote, "I'm going to get medieval on your ass," which is obviously an absolutely brilliant quote. Yeah. So it's a mad section in the middle.
Yeah.
The thing that amused me about this story is that Quentin Tarantino, because it is his film, he wrote most of it, he added dialogue, at a certain point kind of wants to edge out the guy that wrote the middle bit.
Because he wants the title, because he wants at the end of it to go, written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. That was his thing.
Yeah, that was his thing. So, there's been shenanigans about it, but essentially, it is acknowledged that he wrote the middle part. Anyway, at the Oscars, it's nominated, later on, it's nominated for loads of awards, and the only thing it wins is the screenwriting award. Yeah. And Roger Avery, because he likes pranks, arranges with the cameraman that when it goes to screenwriter, who wins the best screenwriting award, the camera goes black, for instance, so you don't see Quentin Tarantino, and then it comes back and you see Roger Avery.
He bribed him $500 to do it. Amazing. I mean,
so brilliant. I love it.
I love the pettiness.
Yeah, so
I would have done exactly the same thing.
Exactly. I mean, they do both go up and they do both win the award, and that's absolutely fine. Yeah. But anyway, back in Amsterdam, he writes this screenplay. And handwritten all over the shop, right?
In 3 notebooks, and he said, I bought this notebook, and I was like, that's the book. Thought he was being Hemingway. This is the book I'm going to write Pulp Fiction in. And best handwriting on the first page. By page 3, it's just like scrawls. And he came up with all these notebooks of indecipherable to anyone else. What the hell is this? There's one called Linda Chen, who was an assistant screenwriter or helped with screenwriting, who basically took him under her wing to help him decipher and make sense of all of this madness. And by a series of events, obviously he had Reservoir Dogs off the back of that, so he was hot shit. But it was weirdly, reading about it now, it wasn't a given that this was ever going to get made.
No.
And he was still kind of scrabbling around. And the story of how Pulp Fiction came to get made is almost as good as the actual story of Pulp Fiction, I think. Danny DeVito's in there.
Yeah, he's an exec producer. Basically, Quentin Tarantino gets introduced to Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito thinks, oh my God, he talks faster than Martin Scorsese. This guy is amazing. And he says, I want to make a deal with you to make your next movie, whatever it is. But he reads Pulp Fiction. He really, really likes it. He takes this to TriStar or whoever it is. But they pass on it. Yeah. And everybody keeps passing on it. And it's mostly, to be honest, because it's too violent and there's a rape scene in it.
The Marcellus rape scene, almost derailed the whole film.
Yeah, absolutely almost derails the whole film. It nearly stops Uma Thurman from doing everything like that. But the people that step in, essentially, is Harvey Weinstein. And Harvey Weinstein, as we know, is a terrible, terrible man. Yeah. But in terms of film production in the 90s, he absolutely changed everything.
Yeah, he had a nose for a hit.
If you write down what is in Pulp Fiction, you think, this sounds almost like a horror film. It's so violent. It's so terrible. This is appalling. People get blown away all the time. It's really terrible. And he doesn't see that. He sees the exhilaration and the amazingness of it. So there is something about Harvey Weinstein that is an admirable producer.
Yeah, I mean, this wasn't his first rodeo either. So, he saw Sex, Lies and Videotape for what it was.
Yeah.
And Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, he was good.
And, he could, for all his many, many disgusting faults.
Yeah, he's an absolutely terrible person.
He could smell a hit. Yeah. And also, he invested in people. So he invested in Quentin because he knew that it's not a script. You're investing in this guy.
Person.
And which, when you've got someone like Harvey and you've got someone like Quentin and you put them together, they butted heads quite a lot, specifically around the cast.
Yeah, around John Travolta.
So John Travolta was just like, Quentin went in with a list of demands, which even with one Reservoir Dogs hit under your belt is still kind of, final edit.
No production
interference. No one tells me, no one changes the script. No one changes. And Harvey Weinstein replied back and said yes to everything. anything but John Travolta he put in the notes.
It's really interesting. So John Travolta obviously is playing Vincent Vega, right? Mm-hmm. And Harvey Weinstein wants like Daniel Day-Lewis, like people like that. And they end up like Sean Penn, William Hurt, people like that. And they'd all seen the script and they want to play him. So it's not like
So the script by now is doing the rounds in Hollywood and everyone is like, holy shit. Because it must have read, like, you know, some scripts, I can't work out how the vision of the script to the film has become a thing. Like a Christopher Nolan film, for instance, I can't imagine like reads particularly well. You've got to know what you're getting yourself in for. Something like Pulp Fiction or Reservoir Dogs or any of Quentin's films, I would imagine you read them and it's just like, holy shit, this just looks amazing. I want this part.
I want this part. So they end up in this negotiation where it's literally a late night telephone call with the producer of the film. And the Weinsteins are like, we accept absolutely everything of your deal points except for Travolta. And at midnight so it's 3 a.m. in New York and at midnight in LA, Harvey Weinstein says, let's just close the deal and we'll address that tomorrow in good faith. And basically the producer goes, you're going to agree to it right now or there's no deal. We've got 2 other buyers waiting outside for this, right? Which is probably true. You've got 15 seconds to agree to this. If I hang up, it's over. And Harvey Weinstein keeps arguing and he goes, okay, 15 seconds. He goes, 15, 14, 30, amazing. And he gets to 8 and like Bob Weinstein, who is Harvey's brother, goes, Harvey, we have to say yes. And Harvey goes, okay, fuck it.
I mean, like...
And says yes.
What the cojones on that guy to do that is brilliant.
Just amazing.
I'm not sure I would have had the bollocks to have done that.
Especially not with Harvey.
I'd have gone, sorry, all right, Daniel Day-Lewis, whatever, fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Do I get a second series? Yeah.
Exactly. So it's completely amazing. I interviewed John Travolta for Pulp Fiction, right?
Oh my God. Hold on a sec. You can't just drop that here.
I couldn't find, typically for me, I can't find the piece anywhere. But anyway, I very much remember my encounter with John Travolta. I flew to LA to interview him about Pulp Fiction, right?
Wow.
And he was adorable.
I bet.
And he was incredibly modest. He was so eager. You know when people say people pleasing? He was so eager to be liked by me. Like, it was unbelievable. He was like, do you think it's good? You know, and like he had some kind of production. It was the next thing he was maybe going to do was Elmore Leonard. And I was like, oh yeah, Elmore Leonard, brilliant writer. And he was like, that's so, I mean, he was probably slightly buttering me up, but I do feel like it was true. He was like, that's so amazing because you're so well read in England. And I was like, okay, place of Shakespeare.
Thank you very much, Mr. Travolta.
Yes, thanks. Yeah, obviously, take my advice. I mean, but he said he felt like he was waiting in line in life and Quentin just went down the line and said, yeah, it's you, and beckoned him out.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he was on his arse.
Yeah.
John Travolta's agents are the worst. He has the worst taste in agents that I have ever seen in my life. Because not only was he on his arse at this point, he's then also been on his arse about 2 or 3 times since.
No taste.
There is no quality control in any of his output. He's been in some truly groundbreaking, amazing films by pure fluke.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, he was literally doing Look Who's Talking, which is about a talking baby. Do you remember?
Yeah. And the opening scene of which he had to narrate a sperm, like going through... This is a PG film in early 1990s. The opening scene of which is John Travolta. I mean, let's not dwell on like the logistics of it all. Is the voice of a sperm... swimming up a vagina.
Yeah.
And this is the opening 20 seconds of a film which, let's not forget, also stars Bruce Willis.
So funny.
No, hang on a minute. No, Bruce Willis is the sperm. Sorry, I beg your pardon. I've got my sperms mixed up. John Travolta is the human, is the father of the baby.
So Bruce Willis is the sperm.
And Bruce Willis is the sperm. Sorry.
I mean,
fans.
Let's all rush to watch that. Yeah. I mean, please. That's just amazing.
He had been in the doldrums.
Yeah,
he
terrible.
was in the worst shape of his life.
Yeah.
He was... I mean, I'm trying to think of a modern day equivalent of that now, because it still happens now. Every now and then, you know, someone will get cast in, I don't know, a Vince Gilligan film or something, or a movie or something like that, and you go, oh my God. Where
Demi Moore.
Yeah, Demi Moore, a great example, actually, with The Substance is a great example of that, where they just end up at one point commanding like $30 million a movie, and then the next they will do any old shit.
And it's also that idea that they're considered a bit cheap and rubbish.
Yeah.
He was considered to be not a great actor.
Well, just naff.
Naff. Yeah, exactly, naff. And you are a cool person, Quentin. Yeah. And he calls him in and beckons him in. And then as part of that feature, I spoke to Quentin Tarantino on the phone, and he said like the one of the greatest moments of making that film is when John Travolta and Uma Thurman walk into a diner, and they walk into a diner. It's full of Hollywood stars, like people playing Hollywood stars. So you've got Marilyn Monroe,
Richard Nixon, and it compares Richard Nixon. Right?
Yeah, it's so weird. It's such a weird environment. They've got. I didn't realise this until I watched it again. They've got Buddy Holly, who's played by Steve Buscemi.
Oh wow,
That's
really?
Steve Buscemi.
In an uncredited kind of cameo. Amazing.
That's completely mad.
So that's very cool.
Yeah, very weird. So it's like an environment of Hollywood stars, right? And then you have a dance scene with John Travolta. John Travolta is a Hollywood star.
Yeah, known for his dancing.
Of the past.
Yeah.
Known for his dancing. So he's like, to put that Hollywood star in that weird Hollywood star environment where actually these people were really great, but they're represented in quite a naff way.
Yeah.
Was like his ultimate.
That's very cool. Yeah.
And it really works.
Yeah, it does.
It really, really works. And in that scene, they asked Quentin Tarantino asks Travolta, can you do the twist? He's like, mate, I'm John Travolta.
What are you talking about? I'm Danny Zuko, motherfucker. Yeah.
I can do any of this. I can absolutely do any of this. But also he says he won some kind of twist competition when he was 8. And so...
that's how he introduced him to all the different types of twists. So there's not just there's not just the twist. There's the Batman was one of them as well. And
and they're swimming backwards.
Yeah, and so Quentin had to shout out, like they were doing it obviously to kind of know music and stuff. And so Quentin was like, the twist, the Batman, swim, like a Black Lace kind of like narration. And
I love that.
And he argued against they both argued against Chuck Berry being used for the song as well, and Quentin was like, no, man, it's perfect. And he was...
Yeah, and he was indeed
right.
correct.
Never argue with Quentin Tarantino about music, I would say.
Yes. Also, we could talk about music because within that film, what's really interesting about it is there is no score. So at no point does he say to somebody, can we have a few violins over here and make it sad? Like it's,
no tension beds. There's nothing. Yeah.
Nothing. It's just tracks that are dropped in at certain points. There's one that's used for, sorry. I mean, I don't know why I'm laughing. It's a terrible scene. But there's one that's used for the Marcellus, the rape of Marcellus scene, right?
Yeah.
Which is the scene in a shop. And Bruce Willis, Butch and Marcellus are both captured. They are put in a situation where they've got
the snooker ball thing in their mouth. I don't know the correct phrase, honest.
No, it's like a ball gag. Ball gag.
Yeah.
And then the two, the owner of the shop and his friend decide that they're going to rape Marcellus. They take him into the back room. Bruce Willis escapes and then comes back to save him.
Yeah.
And he chooses very famously in a kind of quite funny
sequence. Starts off with like a matchbox and ends at whatever it is, and then keeps every time he turns around. Brilliant cinematography, great plotting. Like keeps turning around and finding a gun, then a knife, and then a chainsaw, and then just as you think he's going to go at them with the chainsaw, he looks up and you go, and the big samurai sword.
You see a big samurai sword.
Foreshadowing Kill Bill, surely.
Yes, exactly. I really thought that as well. For that sequence, the music you hear is Comanche, right? And it's like it's quite famous. But what the music supervisor had a choice at that point. And at one point, they wanted to use the Knack's My Sharona.
Oh my God! that would have been really good.
I don't know. I don't think it would have been. But anyway, they went to the Knack. Because the music guy was also working on another film, which is Reality Bites, I think.
Yeah.
And so he says to the Knack, we love My Sharona.
Yeah.
And we would like to...
Great news.
Great news. We'd either like to use it in a rape scene that involves a samurai sword.
There's good news and bad news. Quentin Tarantino, the Reservoir Dogs soundtrack, how many that sold? Great news. But it's in an anal rape scene.
Yeah,
what was that? What was that?
Yeah,
it's in an anal rape scene.
Exactly that.
Did you say? It sounded like you said anal rape scene. Yeah, no.
Yeah, exactly. Is that or Reality Bites? And so the Knack, quite, fair enough. Just go with Reality Bites and My Sharona is used there. And instead they use Comanche on that film. But I think that's much better. I could not have had My Sharona in that.
It would have ruined My Sharona forever, right?
It would have just been absolutely...
I'm sure the Knack are kicking themselves. I'm not sure the royalty statement from Reality Bites was quite the same as it would have been from the Pulp Fiction soundtrack. But the music all throughout is just... really did a lot. Again, the closest we've got is Train Spotting, because
very
again,
much so.
the soundtrack was almost as influential as the film, and the same for Pulp Fiction. And my only, the most tenuous of connections to Pulp Fiction is that I was signed to Beggars Banquet in the 90s.
Yeah.
And
you were in a pop group.
I was in and the only other person that was signed to Beggars Banquet who would allow us to support them whenever they came and played in London was Dick Dale.
Oh, amazing.
So we supported Dick Dale a couple of times in London, and he was the guy who basically had his whole career reinvented himself by doing the and there must have been loads of them. Just no one had really smashed together genres quite as well as Quentin Tarantino does, and also just hugely obscure tracks.
Yep. Definitely.
Against with these ones that were vaguely familiar. So like Dusty Springfield, Son of a Preacher Man, when that kicks in, it's just, oh my God, I've heard this song. This just like, and no one can create a scene with music like Quentin, I don't think.
Yeah, it's funny,
isn't
it? I think because I think Ridley Scott does it a bit.
Right. Okay.
So he does, what they all call needle drop, don't they? So like it's not a bit of soundtrack; it's an actual.
This is a moment.
Song. This is a moment. But I do think that Quentin Tarantino basically has got slightly better taste than in music, really. And with Reservoir Dogs a bit, and definitely with Pulp Fiction, there's a kind of, is it called like surf rock, or like it's like a kind of
surf rock? Yeah,
it's like that kind of twangy guitar. It's a bit older than the film because the film was obviously set like in the 90s.
Much of America is like America is faded glamour completely. So even the diner that they're in is from Happy Days, and so the music does kind of hark back to that. A lot of that, and like the motels, that Butch stayed in. Yeah. Even like the motorbike, he's riding an old Harley, and the car, Butch's car, which is actually Quentin Tarantino's car.
Yeah, it's all from
Vincent Vega's. It is all from the past. So it is stylized, very 60s.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Like kind of 50s, 60s, isn't it? It's like rock and roll into surf.
But it's a timeless film.
Yeah.
It could, even the fact that there's no technology in it. I think I was surprised that Vincent Vega had a mobile phone because I thought it predated kind of that side of things. But if you ignore the fact that he gets the old flip phone and pulls the aerial out of it, Pulp Fiction could be released tomorrow and still feel as fresh as it did then, because actually America is still quite like that.
Harking back to the past.
Yeah, but also just the fashion is completely timeless. So the black suits is obviously timeless. The outfit that Butch wears is just a suede jacket and Levi's. You still see millions of people wearing that now. Yeah. Even Tim Roth wearing a Hawaiian shirt. Look, everyone looks cool as fuck, but everyone looks like they could either come from the 60s or can come from yesterday in Manhattan. Yeah. And that's like that's probably why it hasn't dated at all, because there is no old and new anymore. So it's like, when I was like, I don't know, 15, if my dad played me a record that was 30 years old, it would have sounded like it was covered in dust and was from 600 years ago. Yeah. You play a kid a record that's 15, 30 years now, it sounds exactly the same as it would do if it was released now, because we're just at this timeless era of how things look and how things sound. There is no distinction between old music and new music.
And also within Pulp Fiction, obviously everything is slightly, you look cool if you like, within Quentin Tarantino world, you kind of look cool if you're dressed cool, your references are cool, and you're holding a gun. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's kind of the deal, isn't it?
And if you mean it.
So let's talk about Samuel Jackson and L. Jackson for a moment, because he nearly didn't get the part, did he? He thought he got the part, and then they were interviewing somebody else for it.
Well, it was a guy who ended up being given like a mercy, like an apology part, played the bartender at Marcella Wallace's place, and also walked with Vincent and to go in somewhere. He gets a couple of scenes. Yeah. But and you look, I read that and I was like, I went back and watched it, I was like, they were going to give this guy?
Yeah, it's completely wrong.
Divine intervention, happens every now and then in cinema, and Samuel L. Jackson getting that part is one of those moments where you cannot imagine anyone else playing it, and you cannot imagine the film being a success without Samuel L. Jackson in there.
No, he's so good in it. Yeah. And also because he is, I think out of anyone in it, like including Marcellus, he's really scary. Like he's properly scary. And so the scene when he is with like all the kind of like student types, when they get the suitcase and they want to return it to Marcellus, and basically everybody ends up dead.
Yeah.
You know, he is terrifying.
Yeah. But and he carried because I'm not sure whereabouts in his filmography Pulp Fiction came. But he had that kind of manic stare that I'd not seen. He did it in Do the Right Thing, where he played this junkie, and just had
That's definitely
this
late 80s, early 90s.
insane kind of like, and there's that one of the most famous shots in Pulp Fiction is just that close up on him where he turns round and it's just, and I will strike vengeance. It's like, holy shit, that kind of biblical element to his character kind of was such a juxtaposition to all the other kind of like cool twang that was going on about mayonnaise on chips and honey bunnies and robberies. He kind of like brought it in like with like Easy Carl. I've never heard the name Easy Carl used since or before. Pulp Fiction owns should have the word trademark, the name Easy Carl. And
or Kahuna Burger.
The Kahuna Burger as well, yeah, which actually sounds quite nice. One little sidebar. $1,500 on 3 grams of heroin. That's very expensive heroin, considering that. And the fact that John Travolta, without blinking an eye, dropped 1,500 quid on 3 grams of heroin and then complained that a milkshake cost £5 was like...
Yeah. His economics is weird.
The economics is all over the shop. But anyway, Samuel L. Jackson still is just such a well-rounded... complete role.
He's amazing in it.
Yeah, even when the plots that he's in are stupid.
Yeah,
like the Vincent Wolf plot, which for me is the weakest part of the film.
Yeah, when he comes in and does the cleanup,
just this weird, like absurd thing where the wolf is called to literally say, "Okay, what you need to do is clean the car," and they go, "Oh my God, we'd not thought of that." You know, and I just found that a bit weird, and I think possibly it was only in there because Quentin Tarantino had a part in that.
He's not very good.
But Samuel L. Jackson in that makes it okay.
Yeah, he is amazing. And also because in the end, the film is about many things, but one of the things is about redemption. And he is the person that is redeemed.
Yeah.
I mean, he wants to be redeemed and he is redeemed. Yeah. You know, he believes that he is saved by God by a divine intervention from not being shot by a student who fires point blank fires a gun at them and misses. And he believes that he's been saved and he now has to walk the earth. Sorry, that just really makes me laugh.
Whether it takes if it takes 25, that's what I'll do. And then to which John Travolta replies, I'm going to take a shit.
Yeah. He goes, you're going to be a bum. Yeah. I'm going to take a shit.
Spends a lot of time on the cars, John Travolta does.
I know. It's the end of him, isn't it?
It is.
It is in the end. He's reading
just like Elvis.
Yeah, he's reading Modesty Blaze as well, which is quite weird.
Right.
On his when he goes to the toilet. Anyway, he is amazing, Samuel L. Jackson, in it. And, you know, the jokes in it are incredible around him, including obviously the wallet joke, which is when he asks the Tim Roth character to find his wallet. He's very, very scared. He has a gun against it. Find the wallet that says "Bad motherfucker." And then it is revealed that, of course, it says "Bad motherfucker."
Yeah.
It is the jokes are absolutely fantastic in it. But his performance, I love John Travolta in it. I think he's amazing. I love Uma Thurman in it. Everybody else is really good. But those three, for me, are astonishing and completely make the film, which means that we have to talk about Uma. Let's talk about Uma.
Oh, goodness me.
She's never better than in that black wig.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, she's obviously an incredibly beautiful woman. She's a great actress. She looks lovely with her long blonde hair, but I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That
and also solved Halloween for millions of women around the world forever.
Yeah, for a very long time.
For a very long time. I mean, she went on to be a slightly problematic muse for Quentin, which I think, you know, but this is before all of that started. And she was nervous about taking the film because of the rape scene. But you forget how young she was.
Yeah, she was like 23.
You know, she didn't have a massive array of hits under her belt. Again, just genius casting from Quentin. Motives unclear.
Yes, motives unclear. There's two things that I find quite interesting. One is what she's wearing.
Yeah.
So when she goes out on her date with Vincent, she is wearing essentially what Vincent Vega and Jules wear. She is wearing a Reservoir Dogs outfit.
Yeah.
Right? As they are. And there's a conceit slightly that John Travolta's character, Vincent Vega, is related to the Michael Madsen character in
They're cousins.
In Reservoir Dogs. So she is wearing a Reservoir Dogs outfit. And that is a deliberate decision, obviously, by the costume person. And it gives her a status.
Yeah.
You know, like...
She's one of the gang.
It's the 90s, and it's really interesting as a woman who grew up through the 90s. If you wanted status as a woman in the 90s, you basically had to dress like a bloke. I mean, look like Elastica. Look at Uma Thurman.
Yeah.
You had to be kind of sexy, but you also... I mean, if you wanted to be taken seriously, you had to dress like a man.
Yeah.
And so she is dressed like a man, and she goes through... In terms of her character, she goes through absolutely amazing kind of arc.
Yeah.
So she's cool, she's funny, she's having a great time, and then she ends up basically overdosing on heroin.
Yeah.
There's some nice details about what she had to snort as coke, which is sugar.
I'm presuming icing sugar. You
don't know, like not very nice either way.
Because it's now, I think it's changed now. It's vitamin C. It's powdered vitamin C is what Hollywood uses as Coke now.
Oh, that's quite nice. Yeah. No, it's good for them.
Yeah.
And then when she overdoses on heroin, she takes Vince Vega's heroin thinking it's cocaine. She looks...
I was so naive. Yeah. I didn't understand what was going on in that scene.
Yeah, I mean, why would you? I'm very glad you didn't know.
I was just like, oh, God, she's not snorting smack, is she? You know, I was just like, I don't understand what's happening here.
Yeah, good. That's a good thing, Jamie.
And I still don't, Mum.
So she snorts his very expensive heroin. And he comes back, and she is in the most awful state, and she's frothing at the mouth. And the stuff that's coming out of her mouth, I'd just like to tell you, is Campbell's soup.
Amazing.
Right. So this bit, I mean, these are the details I really enjoy.
I love all that stuff.
So then she needs to be revived. There's a terrifying drive to the dealer's house where she needs to be revived. And that is the most frustrating scene, obviously, ever, because they're faffing around trying to find adrenaline.
See, I thought was some of the best writing in the film.
Yeah, brilliant.
Because to wind the viewer up just by words and even like a phone ringing. There's a scene where Vincent's phoning Eric Stoltz's character,
the dealer,
and it just takes him forever to answer. And I just find, and that just makes my teeth on edge because I can't listen to a ringing phone. I have to pick it up, and it rings for a natural length of time. And it's details like that which then just start building up that tension. And I mean, it's slightly not real either because people, I'm not sure people would react like that. But, you know, there was the woman who was in The Commitments.
Brona Gallagher,
that was it. And
Rosanna Arquette, who's amazing.
And Eric Stoltz just creating this noise of, and actually it's probably is true to life because I've been around a few junkies in my time and they are all desperately annoying people.
Yeah.
And
they're not quick to a decision, are they?
No, they are not. And yeah, that whole scene is just very stressy. It's
incredibly stressy, and she's revived by the adrenaline. But also, I mean, if we want to take a metaphor, okay,
let's take
a metaphor. We have a very beautiful woman, lying there, basically died, and she's revived by a man shoving
a
phallic symbol right into her, like almost breaking her, and she is revived like Jesus coming to back from the dead. I mean, the metaphor is not hard to follow, really. But it is a most dramatic and exciting scene.
Do you know how they filmed that? They had to film it backwards.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So to make it look realistic, she had like a prosthetic, she had like fake skin, like whatever it is, on her chest with the needle in it. So rather than trying to authentically film the force of the needle going in, they shot that backwards. So it was already in her, and John Travolta had to pull it out with force. So it's actually reversed. They played it backwards. So it's him going.
Oh, that's so clever.
Like that. Yeah.
It's such it's an amazing scene. And also what's I think is amazing is her afterwards, because this is a film where obviously things, they're not played for laughs, but it could be played for laughs or something, but it's actually incredibly tender. Yeah. So Vince Vega then drops her home. She's in such a state.
Yeah.
She looks kind of vulnerable. She looks like a child, actually.
Yeah.
And they come to an arrangement that they're never going to mention it.
Yeah, let's never mention it again. And then they see each other after that once, don't they?
Yeah.
And it's when he gets told to go and find Butch.
Yeah.
And Marcella is at the door, and they do a quick kind of thanks for last night. Yeah. Oh, maybe that's
they shake hands, don't they?
They shake hands, yeah. Maybe that's where we need to adjust our timeline. But
yeah. So it is, I think she's amazing in the film. She completely makes the film, and she's the only female character who's given kind of really any agency or anything to do that isn't a kind
Isn't like a mole.
Yeah, that isn't like, even in the diner. So Honey Bunny, she barely speaks. She just flaps.
The name Honey Bunny was, so Jen, the woman that helped him write it, said she would only help if he flat-sitted at her flat whilst she went off and worked on another film. He did that and was a disaster and killed her pet rabbit. So the name Honey Bunny was an apology to her for killing the rabbit.
Yeah, because the rabbit was called Honey Bunny.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a disaster, Quentin Tarantino, on many levels, wasn't he?
You're right. All of the other female characters are either annoyances or
like adjuncts. They're just adjuncts to
even
fellas.
the unseen wife of Quentin Tarantino's character is, oh God, we've got to get this sorted before that annoying woman turns up because she'll really kick off.
Yeah, I mean, they're just kind of rubbish, really. Yeah. Even the taxi driver that drives Butch, she's just there to kind of say, you're really amazing. Oh, my God, you killed a man.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I love you.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention the feet. Uma Thurman's feet. Okay, shall we talk about this?
Yeah, because so nowadays it's like a thing. Like everyone knows about it. And I don't know if he's ever acknowledged it or talked about it. I think he gets quite annoyed about it, as if like we wouldn't notice. But in every Tarantino film ever, he clearly has a sexual kink about feet. He's got a foot fetish, the guy has.
Yeah.
And you see the spark of, this is in my opinion only, you see the spark of what became a huge obsession with Uma Thurman, which went on for many, many years. And there's a great article that was done many years later, an interview with Uma Thurman about the making of Kill Bill, which is fucking wild.
She gets treated very badly.
She almost got her neck broken in a scene. Go and hunt it down and read it, and you will see the genesis of that obsession in Pulp Fiction, I think, because at every opportunity, if there's a woman in the scene, she will not be wearing any socks or shoes.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So you see, when you first meet Mia, one of the things that you see her feet, which are beautiful feet. She's Uma Thurman. Of course she's got beautiful feet. Like, it's amazing. But there's a shot very specifically of her turning her foot up so you see the bottom of her foot, which is slightly dirty, which is very kink.
Yeah.
And then when they dance in the diner, she is required, for no reason at all,
just to kick her shoes off.
To take her shoes off.
Yeah.
Even poor Vince Vega has to take his shoes off he's got socks. But we don't see his feet because no woman wants to see any man's foot. But we see Uma's feet. Yeah, very specifically.
God bless you. I mean, fair play for it's like, I got a foot fetish. I'm going to stick the most beautiful women's feet in all of my films at every given opportunity, and there's fuck all you can do about it. Feels quite Elon Musky.
Oh, don't stop
but it does.
Stop
he would do
this film for me. This is no good at all. This is not fair. Okay, we should talk Bruce Willis. We've forgotten Bruce.
Well, exactly. And Bruce Willis is the only reason this became greenlit and had the buzz about it, because even Harvey, in his infinite kind of like, I can make this indie film megabucks, needed a superstar to pin on it.
Yeah.
And Bruce Willis at the time,
was
and
big.
for many years, was like one of the biggest superstars in the world. Now, he originally wanted to play Vince Vega. He couldn't understand why it wasn't Vince Vega. But actors' whispery circles of Hollywood, it was Harvey Keitel that brought Bruce Willis there in an amazing kind of like Stella Street kind of style thing. Harvey Keitel, who was in Reservoir Dogs and obviously, had his career majorly rejuvenated by Quentin, they'd stayed in touch. Harvey had read the script for Pulp Fiction, loved it obviously, ended up playing Vincent Wolfe. Went round to pick his daughter up from Bruce Willis's house and mentioned to Bruce that, you should really read this script. You would be great for it. Bruce obviously read it, had, in typical A-lister kind of terms, thought he had carte blanche over any of the parts and said, great, yeah, Vincent Vega, that's me. And Quentin was like, no, you're Butch. And he was like, what? And they all took I think they got paid 40 grand.
Yes, they got 20 grand a week.
20 grand a week, that was it, which, obviously sounds like is a huge sum of money, but not if you're Bruce Willis. So they all gone, oh yeah, we took 20 grand a week. John Travolta and Bruce Willis all got a cut of the profits as well. So that when you see the pictures of John Travolta's 747 jumbo jet on his driveway, it was Uma Thurman's feet paid for that.
They certainly did. Okay, there's one little thing. I mean, actually, before we go, do you think Bruce Willis is good in this film? Because I do think he is good.
Yeah, I mean, Bruce Willis is just watchable. And I think he is such a... And I felt quite sad when I watched it because obviously now he's in the throes of dementia and it's all, I felt very, very old watching it. And Bruce Willis is just very understated. He's always been a very understated actor. Even in Die Hard, he's like the anti-Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
And he just exudes coolness, like made me want to smoke again.
There's a lot of smoking in this film.
There's a lot of
oh my
smoking
God,
in this film. And he'd not given up on the hair yet. He was still clinging on to his hair, but he just, Bruce Willis is a great eye actor.
Yes, isn't he? So, there's a lot of a camera just on his face.
Well, the great shot that we talked about with the samurai sword, there's no words in that. And he brings the comedy to it because of the kind of, he does a great...
Could it be this one?
That? And also the two shot when he's next to Ving Rhames, when they've got the ball gags in, when both their eye acting in that is amazing because they don't know what they're there for. And
they cut their back to the action.
You learn, in the blurred in the background, you see Zed opening up the trunk to get the gimp out of the trunk. They don't see any of that, but they can kind of hear what's going on. And between the two of them, and just brilliant acting, because Ving Rhames is a theatre actor, and Bruce Willis is just cool. The dawning of what is about to occur is just. You just see it in their eyes. So yeah, I think he's really good. I don't think it's the strongest part of the film, the strongest plot line, but it's the one that's truest to the Pulp Fiction. The whole thing about the boxer throwing the fight, agreeing to throw the fight and then not, that was the elevator pitch for the whole film. It was the melding of these old Pulp Fiction novel plot tropes that they were going to do, and the prize fighter on the run was one of those. So I just thought he was fucking great.
Yeah, he's really, really good in it. And he's not like, I think he's great, but I don't watch a lot of Bruce Willis films. Do you know what I mean?
No.
But he is really, really good in that part, I think. And I agree with you. It's not the bit I like the most.
No.
But he's really, really good in it.
By the time Pulp Fiction premiered, Bruce and Samuel L. Jackson were in the middle of making Die Hard 3 together.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's so good, isn't it? So I have one tiny extra bit, which is a bit sad, but it's about Marvin, who is the kid who gets killed in the back of the car.
Yeah.
And he gets killed because Vincent Vega is having a conversation, and he turns around holding his gun, and basically the car goes over a bump, the gun goes off, and Marvin gets shot.
Yeah.
It's one of those scenes that actually... When you watch it in this, everyone laughs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a shock.
Yeah.
It's such a shock, but you just laugh.
Yeah.
And he is splattered all over the car. And one of the reasons, it's not a reason, but one of the things that they did with that is initially there was some few extra shots, and it was of Marvin's head being blown up. You don't see it. You see, but there was, they made a mold of his head. They blew it up. You see everything going everywhere. And they did that because then they knew that if they took it to the censors, the censors would be like, oh my God, this is absolutely terrible. You cannot have, the rating that you want. We have to take something out. And they take that out.
And then
they
would excuse everything else.
They save the GIMP.
That's fair.
Then they save the rate.
They save the GIMP. Do you know the GIMP? Do you know who the GIMP was?
Who's the GIMP?
A guy called Stephen Hibbert, who was one of the writers on the film. The other writing credits include Cat in the Hat and National Treasure Book of Secrets.
I love Cat in the Hat.
Yeah.
Oh, what a talent.
Yeah.
Shall we talk numbers? Yeah. Numbers is always good, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it costs $8.5 million to make, which is obviously a lot of money, but not that much. As we've discussed, the castle don't take that much. It earned $214 million worldwide, which is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Over 200 million. And it was the top grossing independent film of that era.
Well, Miramax had already recouped. By the time it got to Cannes, because it won the Palme d'Or, I think.
Yeah.
By the time it'd done that, they'd already sold the international rights for 11 million. So they'd already made £1.5 million before it had even come out.
So it's so fantastic, really.
Yeah.
This is from Roger Ebert, who was a hugely influential film reviewer, called it the most influential movie of the 90s. I love this piece of writing. He says, so well written in a scruffy fanzine way that you want to rub noses in it. The noses of those zombie writers who take screenwriting classes that teach them the formula for hit films, which is
absolutely
correct.
Bang on.
Yeah, it's just completely... It's completely bang on. And John Ronson, who's really, obviously an amazing writer in his own right, he was then the critic for The Independent, and he said, not since the advent of Citizen Kane has one man appeared from relative obscurity to redefine the art of movie making.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I think that's true.
There was another good quote. It was a high point and a low age.
Yes.
I thought it was a really good...
This is the entire meaning of this podcast.
Yeah.
We're looking for the high
points in a low age.
Of the 90s.
Yeah. I don't... And I was trying to think of modern day equivalents of Pulp Fiction. It was so of its time and so groundbreaking that everything else is obviously a pale imitation of that. But I don't think there's been anything that's really broken through since then, because technology has changed and the tools are now within everyone's reach.
I think also it's because of the era. I mean, I think Trainspotting did a similar thing, but it's because of an era, the media was limited.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like we've got music here and we've got film here, and it's all you have to search out the good stuff. And when the good stuff is really good and it comes from an alternative universe, which that did, and it goes mainstream, you can't believe it. You can't believe your luck. You know, that's fantastic. There's something that this is so good that comes from a really quite a skewed but cool perspective.
Yeah.
Takes over the world, and you just at the time you just can't believe it. You think it's fantastic.
Yeah, 100%. And he was like the first nerd to do it. And now there's lots of nerds out there doing it. You know, like being a movie auteur and being in the weeds of Japanese cinema and all those reference points that he arrived with are now 10 a penny on Instagram. Do you know what I mean? And he was the first to really kind of bring that into the mainstream, I think. And fair play.
Yeah, fair play.
Shame he turned into such a weirdo, but we all do eventually.
It's true. Okay, so here at Talk 90s to Me, we like to tweak our soundtrack according to our GIMP's requirements, which means that we have a Spotify playlist of 90s tracks called, of course, Talk 90s to Me. So, Jamie, which track would you like to add?
Well, it's weird not to choose one off the Pulp Fiction soundtrack, but I'm not going to, because actually I don't think any of the songs on there were from the 90s.
No,
Maybe Urge Overkill were, but I'm not entirely sure. So I'm going to go with a really early 90s track, and one for me that was a top of the pops before I think I was still at secondary school, like maybe in the last few months of secondary school, but was also DJing in a local Derby nightclub, and it's a Damskin Killer.
I love that track. Bang, bang,
What?
bang, bang, bang,
What
bang,
a song.
Bang, 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 bang.
And it was the
That's
first time we'd seen Seal.
Yeah.
And I just love it. It's just such a great song, and again, just sounds as fresh now as it did when it came out. It's just like, so yeah, I'm going to choose a Damskin Killer as my banger.
What an excellent choice. Okay, that was Talk 90s to Me, featuring the fabulous Jamie East, whose new podcast Tales from the Celebrity Trenches is out right now. Yeah, man. So why not subscribe to Talk 90s to Me on your podcast app? Join our Patreon. That's Patreon. I love spelling it out. For gorgeous merch and special extra episodes. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Blue Sky. See you next time.